While Chicago is known for famous foods and iconic eateries, Elmhurst itself has hosted many restaurants from the distant past to recent times that suburbanites have frequented with fondness. Let's take a tour of a few of these local institutions and take in some Elmhurst culinary history. I'm Dan Lund, Curator of Collections of the Elmhurst History Museum, and you're watching Elmhurst History in Focus. Cottage Hill Restaurant was one of the first traditional sit-down restaurants in Elmhurst, opening in 1929 at 117 West 1st Street. The restaurant was owned by Peter and Chris Stavropoulos, who also went by Stevens. Cottage Hill Restaurant was sold in 1982 and was turned into the Cottage Hill Chinese Restaurant. Chris Stavropoulos would go on to found Stevens Steakhouse in October 1958. The fine dining establishment and its iconic signage were located at the southwest corner of North York Street and Lake Street for almost 50 years before closing in 2006. Hamburger Heaven has had a presence in Elmhurst since May 1948, and it was opened at 281 North York Street by Arthur and Evelyn Framke. The Hamburger Stand's business model has remained unchanged for more than 70 years. It remains an exclusively carry-out restaurant as it was on the day it opened. Mack's Golden Pheasant has been an Elmhurst mainstay since it was opened by Frank Mack in 1948. Built at 668 West North Avenue, the original building was lost to a fire in 1962, but it was quickly rebuilt. The restaurant remains under the ownership of the Mack family after all of these years, and is credited with being the oldest continuously owned restaurant in DuPage County. Robertos Ristorante had a humble beginning, opening as a takeout pizza spot at 487 Spring Road in 1962. After 60 years and several expansions, it is among the oldest businesses in Elmhurst. Opened by Robert Pagano, he remains the restaurant's namesake even after it was sold to the Marici family in 1985. The restaurant remains open today at 483 Spring Road. Elmhurst's Pizza Palace can trace its origins to a restaurant of the same name in Chicago, which was opened by Paul Cesaretti on Division Street in the 1940s. Paul's son Fred opened a second restaurant in Elmhurst at 117 Addison Avenue in 1955, where it remained in business as a local favorite for 64 years before closing in August 2019. The Paradise Restaurant anchored the southwest corner of York Street and Park Avenue for more than 30 years. Originally owned by Dino Majoros, the diner first opened in 1963. Dino retired and sold the business in 1995, and it closed shortly thereafter. The present restaurant, 100 South, has been open at the location since March 2001. Bailey's Restaurant and Bar opened at 111 West 3rd Street in March 26, 1982. It was owned by the Preuss family, which operated the Yankee Doodle Dandy restaurant at the same location from 1966 through 1981. Bailey's was sold to a condominium developer and closed on August 15, 2004. The Heidelberg International Deli and Restaurant was the longest-lasting business in a string of eateries that have been located at 122 South York Street. Preceded by the Carriage Shop Deli, the business was purchased by German immigrants Connie Masuzak and Stella Kozicki, who opened the Heidelberg in 1973. After 27 years, the building was sold in 2000, and the business moved to Villa Park as the Alpine Delicatessen. The original building became McNally's Traditional Irish Pub, and has cycled through several different restaurants in the last dozen years. Of course, there are many more restaurants that could have made this list, and there will be many more to come. But throughout its history, Elmhurst has always been a great place to enjoy good food with friends and family.